You didn't argue. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't send the long text explaining yourself. You simply stopped reacting. And suddenly, they backed off. Not because you won a fight, but because something shifted inside you. Something they could feel but couldn't name. That's what this is about. Today I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens psychologically when a manipulator meets someone who has mastered the art of silent power. And more importantly, I'm going to show you how to become that person. Not a cold, disconnected person. Not someone who shuts down or goes numb, but someone so rooted in themselves that manipulation simply finds no ground to take hold. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share is not the surface level, just ignore them advice you've heard before. This goes deeper. This is about rewiring the internal signal you send out into every room you walk into. So 1. What manipulators are actually looking. Before you can protect yourself from something, you have to understand what it's hunting. Manipulators, whether they're aware of it or not, are always scanning for a specific thing. They're not hunting weakness in the way we usually think. They're hunting reactivity. They're looking for evidence that your emotional state can be moved, directed, and controlled from the outside. Every guilt trip, every subtle jab, every hot and cold treatment, every rewriting of history. These are all probes. They're sending out a signal and watching to see if you flinch, justify, over-explain, or collapse. The moment you do any of those things, they have confirmed something critical. You can be steered, and they will steer you. Think about the last time someone made you feel small, confused, or guilty for no real reason. Notice, what did you do next? Did you try to fix it? Did you re-examine yourself? Did you reach back out? That reaching, that anxious attempt to restore peace or approval, is the signal. That is what they were waiting for. Not your apology. Your reaching. Manipulation is not a personality attack. It is a structural exploit. It only functions when your sense of self is located outside yourself, in their approval, their perception of you, their validation. The second your self-location moves inward, the exploit has nothing to attach to. Endo 2. The silent behavior that changes everything. Now here's where most advice fails you. People tell you to set boundaries. They tell you to stand up for yourself. They tell you to say the firm but polite phrase. And while those things have their place, they miss the fundamental shift that actually ends the dynamic. Because here's the truth. You can set a boundary with your mouth and completely collapse it with your energy. A manipulator is not listening to your words. They are reading your nervous system. The silent behavior that changes everything is this. You stop auditing yourself on their behalf. You stop running the internal courtroom, where you are simultaneously the defendant, the prosecutor, and the jury, trying to decide whether their disapproval of you is deserved. You simply withdraw the case. You stop trying the case entirely. This looks like not explaining yourself when you don't owe an explanation, not softening a truth to make them comfortable, not filling silence with nervous words, not apologizing for being correctly calibrated. It looks, from the outside, like a kind of stillness. And that stillness is profoundly destabilizing to a manipulator, because their entire operating system depends on your movement. When you stop needing to be understood by someone who has no intention of understanding you, you become unmanageable to them. 3. The psychology of why they back off. Let's go into the mechanics, because this is the part that will make it real for you. When a manipulator encounters someone with genuine internal groundedness, several psychological things happen in rapid succession. First, their probe returns nothing useful. They send the test, the subtle criticism, the withdrawal, the reframe of reality, and instead of getting your anxious response, they get quiet acknowledgement and nothing more. No scrambling, no lengthy defense, just a calm, unshaken presence. This triggers something important in them: cognitive dissonance. Their internal model of you, built on the assumption that you need their approval, no longer fits the data in front of them. And in that gap between their expectation and your actual response, something they rarely experience happens: uncertainty. They don't know what to do next. Their usual toolkit, which is precision engineered for reactive people, does not work on someone who is not reacting. Many manipulators are not consciously aware they are manipulating. They are running learned survival patterns. When those patterns produce no result, they experience genuine confusion and often de-escalate without understanding why. Your stillness has in effect broken their loop. And here's the most important part. This is not cold. This is not punishing silence or strategic withdrawal. You are not doing this to them. You are simply being so genuinely rooted in yourself that there is nothing available for their tactics to grip. Real inner stillness radiates warmth. It just doesn't radiate need. And without your need, they have nothing to leverage. 4. How to build this inside yourself. Practically. So how do you actually develop this? Because just be grounded is not actionable, and want to give you something you can actually use. The foundation of silent power is this. Right now, for most people who have experienced chronic manipulation, the primary audience for every thought, every decision, every action is the person who keeps destabilizing them. Everything is run through the filter of what will they think? Will they approve? Will this trigger them? The practice, and it is a daily practice, is to consciously ask a different question. Instead of, how will this look to them? Ask, is this true to me? Not to be selfish, not to be reckless with others' feelings, but to reestablish that your own perception of your actions is the first and most weighted verdict. You are allowed to be the primary witness to your own life. In fact, until you are, you will always be available to manipulation. The moment you become the most important witness to your own life, the court of their opinion loses jurisdiction over you. Practically, this sounds like an internal pause before you respond to any provocation, not to plan a better comeback, but to locate yourself. Where am I right now? What do I actually know about this situation? What do I feel underneath the activation? That pause, even 3 seconds of it, is the gap where silent power lives. It is the space between stimulus and response that no one can take from you. 5. The signals you send without knowing it. Here is something most people never examine. You are already communicating constantly with people who want to manipulate you before you open your mouth. Your posture, the speed at which you speak, whether you hold eye contact or break it anxiously, whether you offer unsolicited explanations, whether you smile to soften a true thing you just said, whether you laugh nervously when nothing is funny. These are all broadcasts, and the people in your life who operate through control and manipulation are fluent in reading them. The person who speaks slowly and without urgency is broadcasting, "I am not afraid of your reaction." The person who states their truth without padding it with qualifications is saying, "I do not need you to agree." The person who absorbs criticism or attack without visible disruption is communicating the most powerful thing of all. Your opinion of me is not the architecture of my world. You cannot demolish what you did not build. Manipulators are often highly emotionally intelligent, but only in one direction, reading for vulnerability. The moment you begin to close that gap by knowing yourself clearly and deeply, their edge disappears entirely. You stop being readable in the way they depend on. This is why silent power is not a technique. It cannot be faked. You can't decide to seem calm for long enough to fool a practiced manipulator. They will wait you out. What you can do is build the actual internal structure that makes the calm genuine. And the way you build it is by practicing being more loyal to your own perception than to their projected version of you. Every single day, in small moments, until it becomes simply who you are. 06. What happens next, and why it matters. When you begin to embody this shift, one of 3 things happens with manipulative people in your life. Some of them back off immediately and unconsciously. Their tactics stop working, so they simply stop using them without ever understanding why. Some of them escalate first, and this is important to know. When what has always worked suddenly stops working, some people will push harder before they stop. Do not interpret escalation as evidence that you're doing something wrong. It is almost always evidence that you're doing something right. And some of them leave. They exit the dynamic, or they exit your life entirely. And I want you to sit with this. That is not a loss. A relationship that only functioned because you were willing to be destabilized, that is not a relationship worth keeping at that price. The people who remain when you are genuinely, fully yourself, those are your people. The ones who needed you smaller, they were never really there for you. They were there for the access. Silent power does not just repel manipulation. It becomes a filter, letting in only those who can meet you at the level you've built yourself to. And here is the final thing I want to leave you with. This work, becoming rooted, becoming unmanageable, becoming someone who sends a different signal, is not about them. It never was. Every practice I've described today, every internal shift, Every moment of choosing your own perception over their projection, it compounds. It builds a version of you that is not just resistant to manipulation, but genuinely free. Free to move through your life, your relationships, your decisions without the constant tax of seeking approval from people who aren't offering it in good faith. That freedom, quiet, invisible, unargued, is the most powerful thing a human being can carry into a room. They backed off, not because you fought, because you finally stopped needing them not to. If something in this spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're walking through a situation right now where someone keeps moving the walls on you, remember, the goal is not to win against them. The goal is to outgrow the dynamic entirely. That's not something you argue your way into. It's something you become